It's time for Chewing on the Wire Radio.
No, God! No, God!
No biting.
No,
Hey, no biting. Okay? You want me to bite you? You know that hurts, Daddy. I told you, silly. No biting, okay?
And good morning once again. Good morning to the internet world, the airwaves, the radio world. Good morning to everyone. And welcome to our first bonus episode. And if you're wondering what a bonus episode is, well, right now, from today's date, July 23rd to like December, a bonus episode is going to kind of be anything not relating to that book tour we're doing. Or if you want to hear the whole spiel on that, you can just go back one episode and, listen to our book tour stop number 1 episode. So right now, like I said, bonus episodes are going to be anything not relating to the book tour because we are largely focusing on that. But after December, bonus episodes will probably be, just we want to grace the airwaves with our bantering and our presence and our complaints, but we probably don't have a lot to say, just a couple of minutes, so they might just be 5-minute episodes, something quick like that, you know what I mean? But we're also starting kind of a mini series inside these bonus episodes called LogoTalk. Because I have a lot of opinions, and what better place to address them than the internet, right? I mean, that's what it's for. That's what the scientists. I was trying to think of an obscure, well, not necessarily obscure scientist's name, but just a scientist that clearly had nothing to do with the internet. I was gonna say that's why Newton invented the internet, so he could complain on it about getting hit in the head with the apple. Something like that. But anyway, no, it's not really complaining. It's more so like logo reviews. Because if you read, hold on, I gotta move the mic. It might make a weird noise. All right, but if you read kind of what the podcast is about, it's behind the scenes with someone who worked in the sports industry is one small portion of that long description. And in case I have never explained it, what I did, I was a graphic designer and then worked in the retailing department. So I like looking at different sports logos. I got into the business because I enjoy sports logos. So let's look at some logos. Today's logo talk, as I'm sure you can read by the title I typed after we were doing this live, if you're listening on Spotify or on our very own page, our own Rock City / Chewing on the Wire page on RSS.com. That was a bad bell, but also a good place to say we do have our own page where you can see everything Chewing on the Wire on RSS.com. But yeah, the title probably already gives it away. Today's logo talk involves the Cleveland Guardians and the whole kind of rebrand as the Cleveland Guardians. And it isn't a very like this is the story or something like that. Just kind of going in on some of the logos and stuff, because there's been a lot of complaining, etc., of like the G-ball is stupid, this, that, and the other thing. And it's not my favorite. I'm not saying that's the best logo ever. It's definitely not my favorite because City Connect has come out since then. But my 2 cents on the situation is like, what do you want them to do? And I'm leaving it quiet there, purposely for a little bit so you can reiterate or so you can answer. Because now obviously we have the City Connect, and I'm kind of seeing like, well, they probably planned the City Connect, as soon as they knew what the name was, so they couldn't release those logos at once. But now I'm seeing the City Connect, and that logo where it's the Guardian on the statue, like the whole thing, the back of the statue, the physical carved out Guardian, and he's holding a baseball bat in a roundel that says Guardians and has like the leaf things. I'm not sure if there's a proper name for those, but that logo, I could 100% see replacing the G ball or et cetera, et cetera. So now that we have that, that's 110% better than like the G ball, having the C and then this Guardians logo, that City Connect Guardians logo. Which I'll put that City Connect Guardians one as the like album image for this, the little square picture you're looking at right now. But yeah, it's kind of like, other than those two, if you don't like those two, or like, what else did you expect them to do? Because the Guardian's name is kind of hard to go by. Like, it's the two statues in downtown Cleveland. So it is a very good name for the city, for the organization. I think it fits in very well. But, like, what do you expect them to do? It's kind of like, I don't know. I don't really want to give another example because the two examples I'm thinking of right now, I feel like could easily be swapped to something else in the mind of the graphic designer. I'm already having 12 other ideas, but it's one of those. I was gonna say, like the Houston Rockets, and then, or no, you know what? A better example is the Houston Astros, and now how they did their City Connect. And then there's still the people complaining it's still just a boring H or this, that, or the other thing with the star around it. What do you want it to be? What is an astro to you that it's not the like planet orbiting the H with the star? You know what I mean? Like, how much more? What is an astro to you? What is a guardian if you don't like? And then the guardian statues just have those wing things that everyone says looks like the angels. Like on their heads, they have those. So it's kind of like, I don't know what else you wanted them to do. It's obviously not my favorite because I feel like the art style doesn't necessarily fit in with the C. Like, I feel like it's two different art styles, like a very two-dimensional and a three-dimensional fit. But like, what else could they have done? Like I said, they dropped that City Connect, but then like that's it. Like, what else? Like, I'm out of ideas. When I saw the G ball and it became a discussion, well, what would you have done? You were a graphic designer for a sports team for 19, 20, 22, 6 years ish. What would you have done? And I'm like, it would be hard as hell. And I think I'd say they did it pretty well. It would be hard as hell, but I would do something relating to the statue. And then the situation being, though, if you want me to get picky with this one, like I've gotten picky with some of the other logos and stuff, the face just looks horrendous. Like, it's it's got to be hard with the statue. Like I said, this is probably the best logo they could come up with for the Guardians depicting that statue, etc., etc., because a lot of the other things we've seen through local companies like GV Art, which I absolutely love, family friends, so I can't publicly say bad stuff about them on the internet anyway. Kind of joking there. I probably could, but I don't think they'd enjoy it. But no, everything at GV Art, that GV Art has done has been great. But like, going, like, making that a sports logo, you can't do that. Like, I'm sorry to say that, or for people that are like, but why? It's like, there's either too much definition, like I'm looking at that shirt where it's like kind of this three-dimensional going up and off in the distance, like the Guardian statue. And they've kind of done it with different things. There's like a St. Patrick's Day one, I think a Browns one, and it's all like this Guardian statue wearing different things. You can't have that as a logo. There's too much detail in there. Like the max amount you can have with that 3D kind of looking if you're stitching it on a New Era hat or stuff of that nature is going to be like the I'm losing my train of thought. What is that thing called? The G-ball with the wings. And even then, I've seen some where it's kind of gotten messed up in the stitching and stuff like that. Or here's the one for Cleveland. It's like the three-dimensional statue when he's swinging the baseball bat, but the bat's like behind his head already, type of thing. There is this one that just says Cleveland when in the realm of GV art, and it's got like a home plate shape. There's like a C where their wings on the hat slash helmet are, and the dude's facing like to his left, and it looks like he has a hat on. That one's not bad, but there's been so many other like fan made ones type of situations that look amazing, but the situation is like, I'll tell you right now, from working with New Era and Nike and all that. Well, maybe Nike with the t-shirts. I don't think they really care about what they print on t-shirts. But like some of it just can't be done. And that's a whole nother thing that I feel like breaking down while I'm doing these episodes, while I'm doing this logo talk, is this whole page, this whole radio station is kind of thoughts on stuff from industry professionals. Like I'm telling you right now, these GV art guys, this GV art dude makes some amazing art, but none of it would be able to be used like as an actual logo. Well, no, some of it would be. That's a lie, because when they were about to change the name from like the Indians to something else, um, and there was the whole pull for like, well, what if we just got rid of Wahoo and did something else? And they have a GV art has the C with the feather in it. That's a badass logo, and that probably totally would have been able to be used because it doesn't look like there's too much three-dimensional anything like that, any gradient. And even some of it, because like you can see in their shop, it's stitched on hats, and so I get the arguments every so often that's like, you're clearly wrong because blah 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 blah. Like, no, this is like a Yupong foam trucker hat. New Era is not gonna do this three-dimensional stuff. I promise you. New Era is so ticky-tacky that like you see a lot of the non-affiliated minor league baseball teams, and they get a lot of comments in their Instagrams and social media that I see. We'll have to address that on another episode. And they're like, they drop their logo and like their hats and stuff, and they're like, "Will this be available?" Like people comment, "Will this be available on a New Era 5950?" I'm like, no, probably not, because New Era is so ticky tacky. It's one of those like I've had an account with them, and then when I left that team for another team, or even when I just had an account open in my name and then tried using it for this business, like Chewing on the Wire, it got rejected because of this, that, and the other thing. I don't know. I'd have to find the email from years ago and read that off, which maybe we could do in another episode. But no, they're so ticky tacky, they wouldn't even. They're expensive. The sizes are never consistent, and they're ticky tacky on who they work with. So no, it's a mess. It's a mess. And here's another cool one with GV art. Is this a coaster? Or maybe it's on a canvas. It's like a newer version of the Block C, and then the Guardians in the middle of it. But again, that's like too three-dimensional, and there's too many lines. It's not gonna work, sadly. But yeah, I feel like that's gonna wrap this up. 14 minutes in. I feel like that's good for a mini episode. And that's kind of what we're going to be doing on these logo talks. We're going to break down a whole bunch of different logos, though. See what we think of them. And I think my closing statements with this is I agree that it's not my favorite logo ever. Favorite logo ever. Favorite. Can't say that word. But it's one of those situations. I don't think there's much of anything better. And then I don't like just using generic, like the C. The Cleveland Guardians finally come up with a name relating to the city, something nice, something cool, something we can all connect with. What's our logo going to be? The letter C. Like, come on. So I don't think we can do much better then sadly, I don't think we can do much better than the C or the G ball unless you want to make that City Connect logo full time with the Guardian holding the baseball bat. I wouldn't mind that. That's A1 right there. That's the best thing ever. But it's just a hard name. It's a hard name. Like how, like in the future, we're going to talk about like the Milwaukee Brewers, and that's another hard one. How do you depict brewing? How do you depict a beer master? You know, like how do you depict the Guardian when it has all these lines and flora and fauna and carvings and etc. etc. Then you have teams like or well, yeah, you have teams or brands like New Era that are very like, yes, fit these parameters, and there are too many lines. Put that on a hat. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to make a logo based off that. And if this episode was kind of all over the place, we're working on it. We're working on it. We're trying to connect with all y'all as much as we can. And I thought this was an amazing way to do so because we can be on the air more doing logo talks with these bonus episodes, etc., etc. But I'm kind of learning on how I want to put it together. Right now, I'm quite literally just going, that's a team. I have an opinion on their logo, and then like Googling their logo and spewing words. So we're working on it. We'll make it better. And also, that intro you heard will probably be the first and only time you ever hear that intro on one of our bonus episodes. That's a new intro. We're mixing, etc., for our live episodes or just full-length episodes in the future. And we're testing it out today to make sure Spotify doesn't remove it or something. Because I was testing to see if what I label on our distribution website as bonus episode would even post to Spotify, because sometimes they have weird rules and they don't. And it did post to Spotify, but then I just kind of lazily grabbed whatever audio file I can find because it was a test, and I uploaded like an old WAV, an old wave file of a last live demo, and Spotify a couple hours later, even after I deleted it because obviously it was a test, completely shut it down. It was like, you can't have music on through a Spotify or through a podcast distributor, blah 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 blah. This is how you get your music on there. Contact us, and our music's already on Spotify, so I didn't need to do any of that, and it was just a test. But they're very sensitive about who distributes what, even though they all fall under the same, copyright issues, this, that, and the other thing. But then they like come up or are like labeled as like different things on like the way you view them on Spotify, like almost like their page looks different. So then they're like very anal about that. It's kind of weird, but I guess I get it. You want music to look a certain way, play through at the speed it should, you know what I mean? But then Spotify's, gosh, I can't talk today. Restart that whole sentence. I kind of understand it. You want music to play faster paced at the time limits they're meant to, one song after the other, and podcasts can kind of stop one after another. I guess I get it. But, and if you're wondering, if you're like, that intro sounds like a lot of things. Well, it is a lot of things. It's a bunch of different sound bites, a little bit of our music. It is a portion. It is changed. It is switched. There's stuff added, more instruments, more sound effects over it, but it is a portion of what Green Day uses as their intro right before they come on stage, which I got a snippet recording of and then had to loop it a billion times and remaster it, and just like I thought that was something badass. And we are following Green Day on their tour for like 2 or 3 weeks this summer. So I thought that would be kind of an fun intro to play into then our intro of the last live song, Cleveland Hockey, and just kind of what was it? Wow, my brain just went like smooth. They went to tie the two together is what I was trying to say. Jeez. But yeah. So I think that's it. We're already at 20 minutes. This is longer than I wanted it to be, but I'm a yapper. I think that's how we got, though. Thank you for tuning in. And I'll see you either at the next bonus episode or August 5th. We'll be in Cuyahoga Falls at the Primus concert, but before that, we'll be live on the air here. I'm not sure what time yet. So make sure that notification on Spotify is on, and if you can turn it on our personal website on rss.com, make sure that is on as well. Thanks for chatting. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you next time. Bye.
We are the last ones that warned ya. From Brookridge Street to California, and everybody is freaking out, 'cause we're the last